Mswatu ingosi thula akayithathe akahambe nayo akayithathe yedenza bakuni akayithathe
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.
It is 1400 hours. Thank you so much for joining us yet again here on Nedbank Business Watch. It is the 29th of April, and we promise you another very important program looking at and tracking the country's latest business developments. My name is Sifiso Ngumala. I'm happy to host you alongside my co-host, Lungelele Makakula. How are you, Lulu?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm excited about what is going to happen in Eswatini this weekend. This Friday in particular, the streets of Mbabane are going to come alive with enterprise and creativity as the Made in Eswatini Consumer Fair takes over Dr. Sishayi Road. It is led by a peculiar people under the stewardship of Her Royal Highness Princess Sakizwe Dlamini. The initiative is anchored on a simple but powerful idea, which is choose local. And at its core, the fair is going to be about trade, yes, of course, but it's also about visibility for local brands, creating access to markets, as well as strengthening the role of micro, small, and medium enterprises in driving Eswatini's economic future. A vibrant marketplace is expected, one that not only showcases products, but also opens real pathways for businesses to grow as well as be empowered. We will be joined by the chairperson, Melusi Dlamini, who is going to unpack why this platform matters and what it means for the local economy. Stay with us for that conversation.
All right, good afternoon once again. Nedbank Eswatini offers a current account designed for day-to-day transactional banking, enabling users to pay, save, and manage money with features like debit cards, checkbooks, and overdraft facilities. The account provides flexible, secure, and instant money management options, including EFTs, ATM access, and a mobile app. In a conversation she had with Sifiso a while back, Mpumelelo Motsamai, branch manager at Nhlangano, explains further. But first, our business news.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. This is Nedbank Business Watch, and now for our business news.
Now, first story, Mark Ford Sibanze has been appointed as a member of the advisory board of the African Manufacturers Foundation. It is a non-profit organization positioning itself as a driving force and central pillar of continental industrialization. It also champions a revolutionary, resilient, and affiliated manufacturing ecosystem across the African continent. Sibanze explains what this appointment means for the local manufacturing sector and how he intends to actively advance and strengthen the local manufacturing industry.
I think it's a huge opportunity, not only for myself to be part of this board, which is made up of people with high-profile credentials. They are former president. They also Nkosazana Zuma, who is not just a former minister with many years at cabinet, but also a former chair of African Union. So this is going to be advantageous to the country, because when you are there where they take decisions, it's always advantageous and a beneficiary to your country, because if you are absent, you are absent. But if you are there, you are able to influence. And again, it will give me an opportunity for networking and leveraging. And I will have a deep-seated industry knowledge about manufacturing, and I will be able to, even locally, to understand what are their challenges and what are the opportunities there. So if I'm there, I'm able to be their voice.
The International Trade Center, the European Union and the government will host the second edition of the Indalo exhibition, with the public opening taking place this coming Friday at the Alliance Francaise in Mbabane. This exhibition serves as a powerful platform that highlights the growing importance of creative industries and local enterprise development. It brings together local artisans and international designers to showcase innovation, skill and cultural heritage through collaborative works that strengthen market access and global connectivity. The event will feature live crafting sessions, offering the public a unique opportunity to witness skilled artisans at work, as well as high-level panel discussion with Indalo MSMEs focusing on business growth, sustainability, and the role of creative entrepreneurship in driving economic development. In a statement, the International Trade Center states that the Indalo exhibition does not only celebrate creativity and innovation, but also supports local businesses in expanding their reach, building partnerships and accessing new markets. It strengthens collaboration between local and international stakeholders and reinforces the role of culture and craft in sustainable economic transformation. And that's it for our business news. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch.
Let's go for a net break. We speak to the chairperson of the Peculiar People when we return. Stay with us.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. The Made in Eswatini Consumer Fair is scheduled for this Friday, the 1st of May, along alongside Dr. Sishai Road in Mbabane. It is hosted by a peculiar people under the stewardship of Her Royal Highness Princess Sakizwe. The fair promotes a strong choose local message that encourages support for homegrown brands as well as strengthening local economic growth. The event is going to feature a vibrant marketplace that showcases local products as well as offers a space for economic empowerment and business exposure. Melusi Dlamini, the chairperson for A Peculiar People, is here with me in studio and is going to unpack the importance of this event and why you, as a member of the public, why your support is crucial in empowering MSMEs here in Eswatini. Thank you so much, Nkosi, for making time to join us here. Firstly, congratulations. Peculiar People, as well as Made in Eswatini, keeps growing every year, and we love to see the growth. Maybe let's start by just looking at the gap that the consumer fair looks to close every year.
Okay, thanks for having me, Zwide. I think what dawned to us was the fact that there's never been a platform where you could interact with local products in its entirety, meaning products from the creative space, from the fashion space, from construction, from food, from beverage, from the arts and the crafts. Across all sectors, there hasn't been a platform that brings everything together.
Yeah.
Of course, you can get local products at different spaces. You can get local products at different events, but in its entirety, where you can just move in and enjoy local from A to Z, there hasn't been a platform like that, which is why we chose Mbabane, which is why we chose the busiest street. We just wanted to make it impossible to ignore, so that people really pay attention to local products. It is costly. If you would have to start moving around from one shop to another looking for local products, it does become costly. So we just tried and create a platform where every entrepreneur almost every entrepreneur who produces local products is able to get a platform to interact directly with the producers and interact with consumers.
And I know importantly you want that same mindset, that same approach to choosing a product to permeate outside of just the consumer fair itself. And I suppose that is why you even coin the message, choose local.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is that important in this particular time in Eswatini's economy for me as a member of the public to choose local every time?
Our economic dignity depends on it. I mean, we are a beautiful country that imports way more than we are exporting, which means that we are spending on creating other jobs out of the country. We're spending a lot. So understandably, a lot of local products, haven't been to the surface much. So
Absolutely.
You may find that some people are spending on other goods because they are not aware that we do have certain goods that are made in Eswatini of equal or better quality. So I think it's extremely important to make sure that as Eswatini, we circulate our finances locally. We support each other. We need to prioritize quality, because we do believe at A Peculiar People that this is one of our only chances of economic dignity. We've seen other nations thrive. We've seen nations like Switzerland. We've seen it happen across the world. The people that are most successful right now economically are those that started investing back in who they were, and they created products, as many products such that right now they're exporting. So our economy is export driven.
Yeah, and I think from an economic standpoint, that is a very important point that you are highlighting there, that the platform also allows the translation of real, economic activity, real economic growth for these MSMEs.
Absolutely, absolutely. It also just gives people a chance to dream. Every time you spend on a local product, you must know that you're sustaining a dream. You are sustaining a community, because those people will then spend on the local saloons, the local petrol stations, will buy local clothes. And if you can create that culture of circulating our finances amongst each other as much as possible, then surely in a couple of years we'll be able to produce enough to start exporting.
Yeah.
Because it works in stages.
Yeah.
We have to satisfy the domestic market and, uplift entrepreneurs to a level where they now can produce for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think much like every other platform, when you attend an event or a platform of this sort, you have to prepare yourself. And I'm just speaking from and inquiring from the business point of view, the people that are going to come there. For instance, when I go to, let's say, a music event, I like to know what the weather will look like. Should I bring a jersey? If I go to a business dinner, what kind of questions do I want to ask the people that are going to be there?
Absolutely.
For the businesses that are coming, what should the entrepreneurs, really come prepared with to truly benefit from this platform?
I'll start with consumers. I think consumers should prepare to come and do their groceries on Friday. On the day, you will have everything that you can possibly put on your basket when you move into a retail shop, which includes beans, mealies, emasi, food, drinks, eggs, anything that is produced locally. And also just come prepared to discover what other amazing entrepreneurs are producing in the country. We call them a peculiar people because we do believe people that are different are those that have decided to design a path instead of consume and be influenced by what others are doing. But those that have decided to produce and make it worthwhile, those are the people that we truly believe are the next generation of job creators in the country.
Yeah, and then for the entrepreneurs on their end, just what would you say they should come really prepared to do? I know you've been seeing a lot of them ahead of this major event, but what do I come prepared with in order for me to fully benefit if I'm going to be exhibiting there or be there as an entrepreneur? Presentation is extremely important.
Absolutely. We must understand that we are representing the Made in Eswatini brand as an entirety. We have to impress as a collective. People must love purchasing local. And the only way for people to love purchasing local is how they will experience the event on Friday, from interacting with the producers to seamless payments to the overall safety, around and the products that will be showcased. So I think what's extremely important is presentation in terms of the entrepreneurs, customer service. We must also understand as entrepreneurs that the market is king. I mean, we all have our passions. We all want to produce certain goods, but the customers and the consumers are the ones that tell the market what is it that they want.
Absolutely. And you were speaking on the consumer behavior earlier on. Do you, from if you just conduct an eye study and what your numbers tell you based on the previous event and going, of course, to this one this year, are we seeing a mindset shift from the consumer in terms of supporting local?
It is slow, but it is growing. It's not the same as it was before in all sectors of the society. I mean, right now, I think the biggest battle that we need to win is making sure that we create as many platforms like this as possible, because it's really hard for the smaller entrepreneurs to get into the value chains in terms of logistics, in terms of shelves at retail stores. But we need to really play our part in supporting them so that they grow. So we are almost there. We're almost there. It's growing. Obviously, we're a small kingdom that's hugely influenced by the globe.
Absolutely.
But the more consumers discover the quality of local, especially people that travel the world, people that have been to other countries and tourists that come to the country, they tend to appreciate the fact that our food, our hair food, our cosmetics, our leather products are all organic and pure. Unlike many, even our gin is said to be one of the best in the world, just because of the ingredients that we have is still pure and not much chemicals. Even our hair food is still made of the original herbs. Our teas, our water is still quite from Eswatini, you know what I'm saying? So I think we have that advantage globally, is that we're still sitting at a space where our food, our meat, our eggs, our products are still quite organic and preferred
Yeah.
by the global markets. We just need to accelerate production, and that we can only do if consumers really show their support.
It is an interesting battle indeed for people from outside of Eswatini to prefer what we are offering, and for us to still fight a battle where we need to change the mindsets of our locals. It's quite an interesting battle, but a beautiful one indeed.
Yeah.
And I would love to see the fight there. What does success look like after this Friday?
We have a 3-year strategy. So this Friday is only just part of a journey. This is part of an ecosystem. But success at the end of 2028, obviously we must see a massive increase of local uptake. We still don't even have dashboards and research data to show how much people are really trying to choose local. But we do have a mark. We are working on the definition now. We do believe once the mark is available on the products itself, it's going to be easy to identify. Obviously, to have the mark on the products will entail a couple of processes, quality standards, and so forth. It is a journey. It is an ecosystem. There is an award ceremony coming up for the products themselves, which is going to be driven by the consumer. There is an e-commerce platform that is being put together, which is specifically focused on products and services. But to us, I mean, success is inevitable, because the products that are going to be displayed are mind-blowing. People will really be impressed, and we're looking forward to people coming with their hunger to make groceries and discover new products and buy and make contacts. I mean, it's a space where also the entrepreneurs will get to engage with buyers. There's a couple of angel investors coming in. There's a couple of policymakers that have confirmed their participation. There's a couple of retail buyers from across Africa that are coming in. There's one platform that they felt like, okay, if we are going to allocate shelf space in our shop, it's better when we find everyone in the same space instead of having people pitching one by one.
That saves their time as well. Ngozi, thank you so much for your time. Mind-blowing products are going to be showcased as the Made in Eswatini Consumer Fair takes over Dr. Sishai Road this Friday, and your participation and your presence is going to be crucial. Get ready to enjoy yourself, but importantly to support these businesses. Medusa Dlamini is the chairperson of A Peculiar People, and that is our conversation. After the break, the show continues. Stay with us.
Viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Welcome back. On Monday, government formally launched a new Starlink satellite gateway, signaling a major breakthrough in efforts to boost countrywide internet access through low Earth orbit satellite technology. The launch ceremony was graced by His Majesty King Mswati III, who was represented by His Royal Highness Prince Sikalo, reflecting the nation's strong drive to close the digital access gap. This new satellite gateway is expected to significantly improve internet speeds as well as internet reliability, particularly in rural and hard-to-reach areas where traditional connectivity infrastructure has long been limited or difficult to deploy. Sanile Sbia, our economist, is in studio to help us understand this development. Thank you for your time, Mr. Sbia. Just how significant is this development for an economy like Eswatini?
Thank you so much, Mr. Nxumalo, and a good afternoon to the viewers. So this is a very critical development for Eswatini. Number one, just having Starlink coming into the country, that in itself speaks a lot of volumes. And then also when you look at what this means, because what it means is you have a Starlink node in Eswatini, which then also communicates with whatever signal is being bounced by those satellites in low Earth orbit. So now in itself, that could be an indication that we could now start thinking space programs, and we do have a space program as a country that is at its infancy stage with the support of India and quite a number of countries. So, this gives us a leeway and opportunity to think about that. But, in terms of the economy in itself, what it means here, Mr. Nxumalo, is Eswatini becomes very relatively positioned to get those world-class internet speeds to the rate of, say, 100 MBs per second. That's what I saw at some point. Starlink was doing that and more. So what that means is we're able to connect better as a country. We are able also to, run these programs that require a lot of connectivity and a lot of internet speed. So that puts us into that space as a country, and also it puts the economy into what we call a gig economy. So that means right now, you don't need to worry about connectivity when you're zooming, because when having the satellite station there reduces that latency. So what we're going to see right now is an improved internet speed and internet connection across the globe, across Eswatini. So the economy is going to, ride on the backdrop of that. And also, when you think around issues of competition, every time a new player comes into an industry, it forces the existing players to play nice, in terms of fighting for that clientele base. So we're also going to see probably an improvement. And if you remember that Eswatini is classified amongst the countries in which it is most expensive to have data.
Yeah.
So our data packages are relatively expensive. I think we are the third most expensive in the region. So if you then now have a lot of players coming into the space, that might end up driving the price of, that data cost down. And then the most important, Mr. Nxumalo, is we are seeing the potential for high-speed internet connectivity across the country. So that means you are closing the digital access gap. And then once that gap is closed, you're opening up entirely new frontiers for those communities, which would include, precision farming, amongst others, the use of artificial intelligence across the multiple sectors that we have in the economy, and boosting the rural economy. You think education, so right now virtually all schools can have an internet connection, because you don't need to plant fiber optic cables throughout the country right now to ensure that you have access. You don't need to mount satellites, these antennas across the country. So right now you just rely on the low Earth orbit satellites. So that means right now even places that were geographically very impossible to provide access to. With Starlink, you can get that, and with the satellite station, you're reducing the latency, and it makes it relatively faster.
Yeah, I'm also interested on the topic around bridging. I mean, the rural urban digital divide, is what you term it. Just how realistically can that happen ASAP? Are there no other barriers that still need to be addressed before, this development in itself helps that front?
So the financial barrier will still remain because you have to pay to access the internet. But in terms of having the reach, as soon as you can pay, I don't foresee any other barrier. As soon as you pay...
And you suppose that reach and that latency is much better than what we have currently?
Yeah. It is much better than what we have currently. And actually, it also takes away the logistics. Remember, before you had to order Starlink and you'd have to wait for some time for it to be delivered. So having a satellite gateway also brings those products relatively closer because you have a physical presence now of Starlink. You don't have an economic presence. So right now, you have a physical presence, some form of physical presence of the entity in Eswatini. So what we're also going to see is improvements around taxation. There is a conversation in government in saying, how do we tax these companies that are not presently here, but Eswatini are consuming the commodity. So we're also going to see those spin-offs to those, the revenue, and the fact that you have a big player like Starlink, you have the entire might of the mask bravado. It makes it easy now to get an entryway into all these other international entities that are playing within the space. And then once we start having that conversation to say, how can we tax your economic presence in Eswatini, even if you do not have that physical presence, now that becomes a closer possibility for the kingdom, and there is a bit of taxes that we can raise from that. So it's going to open up that conversation.
In terms of the economic impact, I mean, you did highlight agriculture, especially in the underserved communities, being amongst the top, I suppose, benefiters, look for a better term there, of this development. If you will, just highlight some of those sectors that are set to enjoy, at least in the immediate term, the benefits.
The immediate term, the one that I look at as the one that stands to benefit more is the gig economy, where we're looking at people being able to provide services to companies that do not have a physical presence in Eswatini. So now if you have a very good internet connectivity, we are going to see a lot of, those remote jobs that are going to come in. It will contribute to alleviating the problem of unemployment in Eswatini. And once you have, a guarantee of this very good internet connection, it becomes relatively easier for these companies to give those jobs to Eswatini, where we say run a data analysis, do that, and do that from abroad. And then also one other space that stands to benefit is we are going to see the adoption of artificial intelligence across all sectors, because you are now going to have this relatively stable internet. And as you know, artificial intelligence does require, if you want to do a bit of more complex analysis, you do need a very stable internet speed, and also you do need to have the good machines there. And then also we are going to see improvements in terms of the streaming services and all of those other services, where people can actually now go into that space, and we can talk of the monetization conversation, because it's a conversation that's different altogether. But in terms of the capability and having this access to simply upload your content within a very short space of time, so these innovations are going to give us that potential, and we're going to see the space come into play. And then also from a consumer standpoint, we are going to see, a downward pricing strategy. We're already seeing that with between MTN and Eswatini Mobile. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to.
No, I mean, it's just the two of them that exist. So, and if you mention the both of them, I don't see the dilemma there.
So if you see the pricing strategies now, the aggressive strategies that these companies are now adopting, it benefits the consumer.
Absolutely.
So now what you're having is a third player that's coming into play. And again, that's going to benefit the consumer, and we are going to ask questions around the efficiency and what it means for the, let me say, the systems of old. Right now, when we can have low Earth orbit, which doesn't require a lot of the infrastructure, which is something that Eswatini, the telcos were benefiting on compared to the initial where we started. But now we're having another innovation, and innovations are always good. They force existing companies to think through and see what initiatives they can uphold, and it's going to drive the entire industry closer to efficiency. You know, the more players you add into an industry, it gets closer to efficiency because you have to find ways of remaining competitive.
Mr. Spear, thank you so much for your time. Well, indeed, it is a big development that Eswatini will enjoy the economic impact of this newly launched Starlink satellite gateway in Eswatini. After the break, we speak to Mpumelelo Motsamai in an interview that we once had. It was myself and her, and we were speaking about current accounts. Stay with us for that one.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back to the program. You're still watching Business Watch, powered by Nedbank Eswatini. Katsanyalo Samugela Mpumi Motsamai, who is a branch manager Kona Nedbank. That's got a current account, which I believe is also called the check account. Mpumi, that's Kazela good see yini current account and you verify lo
Yes, so so I current account in Shoboy account lo isebenzisa noma ngabe kunini ibitwa phinze futhi nge-check account.
Engabe isebenza kanjani vele?
Okay, kusebenza kwayo i-current account ufaka imali phinze ukhiphe imali ngetindlela letihlukahlukene. Ungayifaka ekhathi ebhange kunoma ngabe ngiliphi igatsha le-Nedbank, ungayifaka noma uyikhiphe ku-ATM, which is umshini lokhona ngaphandle lo sebenza ngekuthi akhiphe ngifaka imali. Ungayisebenzisa futhi ukuthi umukele umholo wakho. Ungayisebenzisa futhi le account ukuthi uthumele imali kulomunye umuntu lone account, kungaba i-account yase Nedbank, kungaba i-account nje kulamanye amabhange.
Okay, engabe ngiyakhona ukuthi ingivumela ukuthi ngithenge gas noma ngibhadale imali, siyathi ukuthi sokubana lama options lawo le bantu bawathakasela. Ngabe i-current account yase Nedbank ngiyawathola yini ama options lawo?
Uyawathola sifiso ama options lawo. I-current account yase Nedbank iyakuvumela ukuthi uthenge gesi, uthenge imali, ubhadale imali, iyakuvumela futhi ukuthi uwende ema transfers kulamanye emabhange.
Okay. Usenda lama transfers ngiyakhona yini kuwenda elicingweni, ngiwenda njani vele ngiyahlo ukuthi sekwaba letinhlangosi letahlukene lokhanza ukuthi uyakhona kusebenzisa ema accounts emabhange?
Le nhlobo ye account yase Nedbank uyakhona ukusebenzisa likhasi langqondo machine, which is online banking. Uyakhona nekusebenzisa i-mobile platform yethu lo ifaka ecingweni lakho. Lapho uyakhona ukusebenzisa leyo mobile app noma leyo online banking uthi wende le timvo lesengitichazile, kufaka imali, kuthumela imali kulenye i-account, uthenge gas, uthenge imali, ubhadale imali nalokunye lokuhlukene. Ungayichecka ne-statement sakho, ungakhona nekuchecka ukuthi phambilini noma emuva i-account yakho uyisebenzise kanjani.
Cishe ngasikude lengakuthola musi kule account ya noma engangibani vele le account?
Le account ilungela wena lo sebentako, so now sebenta ungakhona kuyivula le current account.
Okay, okay. ngiyahamba ke ngiyivule i-current account ngisifiso ngiyasebenza lokho senhloko yami lengitibuta kona ukuthi engabe tindleko time kanjani uyakhona ukungichazela kabantu ngetindleko
Ngiyakhona ukuchazela ngetindleko sifiso i-current account yethu isebenta ikangu-2 kune pay as you use i-account inhlobo ye-current account loyivula le monthly charge yayo i-charge ngale ndlela loyisebenzisa ngayo
okay
leligama lelithi pay as you use and then kukhona nale bundle account le bundle account iyambanzakanya lama charges akho so wena lo watiko ukuthi imali yakho ku account angeke uzoyisebenzise onke lamalanga mhlambe ungayisebenzisa le bundle le pay as you use bese wena lona ma transactions lamaningi noma lo yisebenzisa kakhulu imali account ungasebenzisa le bundle fee leta kukhepha noma leta uba nekugcina kwema charges lama charges ang 140 la kule bundle account
akwendeki endlule ngifuna ngiva ngathi ngimuva kahle lo bundle ngifuna sibiyele kahle kulo pay as you use shothi asengithi ngiyothenga nyalo maboma ngithi nje ngithanza dithelo ngiyothenga dithelo lapha emarket sengiyabhadala ke nakusasa ngiyabiyela ngiyadithenga le dithelo nangakusasa ngoba vele ngididla kakhulu shothi njalo nangibhadala kuyethatha le charge i-fixed in the charge leyo
le charge ngenyanga kuwo oyi2 letinhlobo kutotonke 2 letinhlobo tale account i-fixed kulo pay as you use ngo54 emalangeni 70 cents bese ngala kule bundle account ng140 leyo yi charge le charge kule account on a monthly basis month end
okay so ngichazelwe ukuthi i-account lena yemuntu lo sebentako kunebantu labathi nabasebenta khanze ukuthi bacasheke ngeperiod lemfisha ngidawubekisa labanye bacashwe 3 months lo micashwe 6 lo micashwe umnyaka so kukhona ke nalo permanent and pensionable bonke labantu labo bayakhona kuyithola le account
bayakhona kuyithola le account kuhlukahlukana ke la ekuthenini imali lo yithola la kule account ingakanani lelo tawuholelwa yona
okay
so kunemkhathi ke lo kunekuhlukanisa lo bese sekuyendeka kulama current accounts noma ku onke lama accounts ase Nedbank so naso uvule i current account sibuka ngale le mali letawungena la kule account letawuvumela kwekuthi uhole lokunye langaku-highlighta mhlawumbe sifiso ukuthi na unale current account sesiyakuvulela letinye timvo longadenda la khathi ebhange lokufaka ekhathi mhlawumbe ukuthola i-loan lokufaka ekhathi mhlawumbe kuwenda i-overdraft lokufaka ekhathi mhlawumbe kuthengeka kwetimoto kuthengeka kwetindlu la kule current account uyakhona kuvumeleka ke ukuthi usalo utfola naleto tinto
yeah ngiyafuna lokubuta ngoba sibuya esikhatsini esimadima sabo COVID-19 la khona sihanjelwe ihlobo tethu letiningi usathinza lo ukuthi kunengi lenguthola kule account ngiyakhona ukuthi ngithathe i-loan yokuthenga imoto ngiyakhona ukuthatha i-loan yokwakha indlu ubala nje into letiningi ngabe ngiyayithola yini nakulaba kubita nge-funeral cover ukuthi ngikhona ukuthi sengiyawufihla isihlobo sami
kukhona uyakhona ukuthola sifiso so la kule account kucishe onke ama accounts ase Nedbank uyakhona ukuthola i-funeral cover lokufaka ekhathi yona le current account ama funeral cover efuke ahlukene kabili kunalele fihla your immediate family meaning wena na spouse wakho nebamphana ikhona naleya extended family la so ucover khona gogo ucover khona mzala noma malume kuwo onke lama funeral cover lawo siyakhona kusebenzisa le current account kuze usidakala
nami ngathi senginako lo ukuthi ke ngiyafuna lokukhuthala ukuthi nasiphuma la lihlelweni gijime ngeNedbank ngiyavula i-current account ngifuna singene kulamanye alama features noma letinhlangothi letingonde solo singena kuto usangichazela ufaka ekhathi igama lithi debit card wafaka online and mobile banking wafaka direct deposit kuna interest engcenye nasingawachaza lamagama lawa ngalinye nasingaqala la ku debit card bese singena kulo online and mobile banking
okay i-debit card yakho sifiso ikhulu nguleli card lo isebenzisako na ukhipha imali emshinini leli card lelo uyakhona nokuphinza futhi uthenge ngalo esitolo phinze futhi uthenge ngalo ku online banking which is likhaslangondo machine
lapho ungalahle lo
leli card lelo kufuna ungalahle so hlale kuwe ipin yakho ihlala ibe safe yakho wethu
okay kunalo online and mobile banking lengibelieve ukuthi ngeke ube naye nawude leli card
liqiniso lelo sifiso so now una online na mobile banking leli khadi li vital noma limcoka ukuthi ukhona ku-accessa lama platforms lawo.
Okay. Ngabe kulama platforms salokenyalo sisibuka nje lama platforms kuna online na mobile ahlukene ngani lawo la ngitho ngoba ngathi mabili amagama amabili lawa nokuthi vele athola anani la ngekhathi acukethe ini.
Okay, kulo mobile nasikhuluma ngam-mobile sikhuluma ngelicingo lwakho. So le product lena ikhuluma ngaloko lokhona ukwenda la elicingweni lakho. La ecingweni lakho uyakhona ukucheck ibalance, uyakhona ukuthumela imali kulomunye umuntu, uyakhona ukuthenga gesi, uyakhona ukuthenga airtime, kuningi nje uyakhona nekuchecka ukuthi emuva mhlawumbe noma etinyangeni letendlulile le account yakho isebenziseke kanjani.
Ngimbula kanjani ke lo mobile yena?
Le mobile platform ufika ebhange ungakhona kufika ebhange so unaleli card noma nasikuvulela leli card siyabese siyakuregister noma siyakubhalisa kule nhlobo yale platform.
Oh, seyitane prompt kuba ngilabo star.
Yes.
Kube nenombolo nayo.
La kule mobile platform kuba ne-app la ungena khona bese nangabe mhlawumbe leli cingo lwakho alimvumeli lo le app sesiyasebenzisa ke labo star 140 star 40 hash.
Okay. So singene ke nyalo kulo online.
Okay. Kulo online ngila so ngena khona ekhasini la ngcondo machine.
Okay.
La kule khasi la ngomvo machine nakhona uta registera ekhathe ebhange sikuvulele ukhona na ufika mhlawumbe la usebentela khona noma ekhaya na unale internet sifiso ukhona ku register noma ungene wende lama transactions lebese ngiwabalile.
Okay. Ngiyabona ukuthi kulo mobile banking nalo online banking kokubili uyayidzinga internet kodwa na wenda lo kwabo star encenye khona usayidzinga le internet. Sengibukela nje na Google sendleleni lokhanza ukuthi kude leyo internet but uyakhona lokuchubeka avule the platform there on their mobile banking.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think sasikuxoxise konke ngicanga ukuthi nembukele ekhaya sawuchazeleke kabanti ngayo current account. Singakhulu isikhatsi sakho Mbumi ukuthi osichazela kabanti ngayo current account. It's also called the check account sicukudela ke Maswati ukuthi abavakashele Nedbank encenye nje ngingaphumi Mbumi ungayibuka le camera naye nje ubakhuthate ukuthi bangayapi ngoba livela kangwane libandi kunelibonjeni kuneshiselweni kunengikhabave kunahoho mina nangilaka hoho ngibhekaphi lo sashiselweni ubhekaphi kufuna aphathe ini.
Okay, now uvula i-account ungavakashela kunoma ngabe ngiliphi igatsha la Nedbank eMbabane sikhona eGwamile sikhona nase Corporate Place Gamanzini nakhona sikhona eLifestyle Gamanzini sikhona na Riverstone Mall sikhona na Gamanzini main branch kubukana nalamanye amabhange la khona la kuNgwane Street bese Shiselweni sinayo iNedbank enhlangano opposite ePosini nase Big Band sikhona Sifiso sikhona naseBhleni sikhona naseSimunye.
Mbumi cha sosichazele kabanti ukuthi Iswati noma ngalikuphi linganitfola kuphi Nedbank Eswatini ngizaba lenkhulunyalo siyade ukuthi kwabana inkundla ekuxhumana kunetincingo kunema email address ngabe na ungabuka le camera uba tshele nje kabantu ukuthi banganitfola kuphi kule tinhlangothi lethu.
Okay, ku website yethu la kuthi www.nedbank.co.za ungasithola na ku email helpdesk@nedbank.co.za ungasishayela licingo ku 3278 1999 3278 1999 ungasithola futhi nasetinkhundleni tekuxhumana loku Facebook, X na LinkedIn lapho khona ungasithola ngekuthi ubhale ukuthi @Nedbank Eswatini.
Mbumi sibuka kakhulu isikhathi sakho lomhla elihlelweni sethembe ukuthi eMaswati atakuthakasela kuhamba ayawuvula i-current account leyatiwa nange-check account. Mbumi Motsamayi branch manager Nedbank Eswatini sichazela kabanti ngayo i-current account leyatiwa ke nange-check account chazela yona indzaba ukuthi ungabathola likhasi labo www.nedbank.co.za kanti ke uyakhona nekubathumelela i-email ku helpdesk@nedbank.co.za inombolo yabo elicingo ngu-3278 kanti ke tinkhundleni tekuxhumana uyabathola ka Facebook uyabathola ka X lobekatiwa ke nga Twitter na ka LinkedIn ka @Nedbank Eswatini asibahlole market sitabuya sicubeke nelihle.
Welcome back. This is our final segment with Sandy. So we are getting into market analysis of today, 29 April, Wednesday. Very good afternoon, Ngozi. Thank you for coming through to Nedbank Business Watch. So yeah, the war, the global conflicts is still ongoing. How is that affecting markets today?
Thank you, Lulu. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. So as you have rightfully said, the conflict in the Middle East is still prevailing. At the moment, we still have the ceasefire, but it's a very fragile one between the US and Iran. But what we woke up to this morning was a lot of threats coming from Donald Trump, and with the Iranian leadership responding to those threats. So we expect that things are going to escalate in the next few days. But we are going to monitor that. But there is still a lot of uncertainties in the region. We also saw the UAE withdrawing from the OPEC group and OPEC Plus yesterday. This is very major because it's going to have a lot of implications to oil prices, and considering that the UAE was the third biggest supplier of oil coming from that group. So we are still going to monitor that, how it's going to affect the Saudi Arabians, and maybe get a glimpse on how the group have come to this decision.
Okay, so now let's take a look at equity, starting off with the S&P 500. I see it's doing quite well today, or is it not?
Yes, so the S&P 500, it's still in record high region. So this is just a pull from recent highs. So we have seen the S&P 500 reach record levels of 7,178 on Monday. So this is majorly coming from the Magnificent Seven and the AI industry. So what we have realized, and the market have sort of come to the realization of, is that the AI hype, which has been considered a hype for the longest time, is not actually a hype. We have seen results in terms of revenue growth on these big companies. So now that growth have been shown on their earnings. So we have seen a lot of revenue growth in many companies that's resulting from AI, from the AI boom. So these retreats are just a pullback from this morning, but the indices are still doing quite well. The FTSE index is also down 0.11%, which is also not a big drop from recent highs. The JSE All share, it's quite down, 114. If you remember from last week, we were trading at 118. So for the JSE, it's a big pullback, and a lot of this is coming from the oil prices. So since South Africa is a net importer of oil, so with the recent high prices of oil, South Africa have been majorly impacted. This have also affected the currency. We have seen the rand weaken. We have seen their index also drop quite a bit. But these are still high levels in terms of the indices. It's still a good avenue to invest in. It's just that we are going to see these volatilities, especially with small earnings coming today, and we are going to see tomorrow and on Friday. So the earnings that we have seen so far, especially that have been pushing the S&P, were Total, Starbucks, General Motors, Coca-Cola. So what happened is that the earnings on these companies were very high compared to the expectation that was given to the market. So they beat expectations, hence the reaction was more people investing into the S&P 500. Okay. So today what we are going to be looking at is Microsoft will be releasing their earnings. We have Microsoft, we have Alphabet, we have Amazon, and Meta. Those earnings are coming out today. Tomorrow we are going to be looking at Apple. Then on Friday we will be seeing ExxonMobil and Chevron. So there's still a lot that's going to be coming in terms of data that will affect probably the S&P 500 and the other indices majorly.
All right, so now moving on to commodities, getting into oil and Brent crude oil. So what's driving energy outperformance this afternoon?
Yes, thanks for that. So for gold and Brent, we have seen a bit of spikes. For Brent crude, it's coming out from the recent developments. Since we have seen that OPEC, the group of OPEC has a bit of instability with the UAE withdrawing. So this will influence their this will weaken their influence over the supply of oil. So the group, what they usually do, because this is a group of countries that affect, usually they can influence the price of oil depending on where prices are. So let's say if we are having low prices of oil and now this is affecting the big industries that are producing oil, OPEC can step in and decide that they would like to drive the prices of oil up. But this is not just to drive them up. Sometimes you find that the prices are now too high and OPEC will come in. Probably they use supply to do that, where if the prices are high, they're going to increase supply to make sure that the market is flooded now with higher supply that will make the price reduce. So with the UAE withdrawing from the group, that weakens the group's ability to do that. We have seen in recent economics outlets showing that the capabilities of the UAE to produce was 5 million barrels of oil per day. But because of the conditions that they had in the group, they were only producing 3 million a day. So now that they're independent, we are going to see how they are going to work around their supply. But on top of that, we have also seen the threats between the two countries, which was a big reaction that we saw on the oil prices that made them spike. As you can see, currently they are above, oil is above $100 per barrel, which is significantly higher. And unfortunately, this also fits to inflation risk. So with higher prices of oil, we expect that inflation is going to be high in the next few months. So this, with inflation high, we expect interest rates to also increase. So that's why in terms of gold is up from this morning, but in nominal terms, if you look at last week, we were at 4,770. The price have dropped, and this is because most investors that were invested in gold are now looking at the possibility that interest rates might rise and they would like to invest on interest-bearing assets. So they are withdrawing their investments from gold to wait. That's why in the current moment we have seen a lot of funds sitting with money market funds or even in cash. It's because investors are currently waiting to see how this is going to end. If interest rates are going to rise, they will like to move their assets to those instruments.
Okay, so now let's quickly get into currencies and see how the line is trading against the dollar this afternoon.
So with currencies, we are currently at 16.57. We open at 5.4, so we have seen a slight jump. GBP is at 22.3945. The euro, it is at 19.411. So this is a big reaction to oil prices mostly. But what we also know is that there's an interest rate decision coming today from the US. So the meeting of the FOMC will be concluded later today. So we are going to hear what the decision is on that side. But the expectation from the market's perspective is that interest rates are going to be held constant, probably across the regions, because it is being termed a wait-and-see strategy, where the markets are currently waiting to see what's going to happen, the developments with the war, the developments in terms of how companies are going to strategize or position themselves in the current volatilities. So there isn't much trading that's happening today, because we would like to understand the stance from the Fed chair.
Okay.
There is also data coming out of Germany with their inflation numbers coming out today. And in current news, we also have that the Justice Department from the US have dropped the probe into the Fed chair, which has sort of gave relief to many market participants, especially pertaining the worries of the independence of the Federal Reserve in the US, which was seen as being threatened by the current administration.
Okay.
So there is that, and in terms of the UK, their inflation numbers are still high. We noted that earlier they had expected that inflation would be around 2.1% by this time, and this was before the war, obviously. But inflation have jumped up. It's currently at 3.3%, and these have made the Bank of England very cautious, because they wanted to reduce their interest rates. Now they are also looking at keeping them at the same levels and wait until until we can see further development. So across the market, I think interest rates are being held, or they will be increased in the next few days.
Senator, thank you so much for that analysis this afternoon. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of our program. You are watching the Wednesday edition of Business Watch, Nedbank Business Watch. For another episode, catch us again next week, Wednesday, at exactly 2 p.m. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.